Hello, everybody. Welcome to the SEO Mindset and Search with Candour, live in Brighton. Yeah, there we go. Got to get that early round of applause, right?
Can we get one more, just because it gets me a high?
Yeah.
My ego is happy now.
There you
Thank
go.
you all.
That's the most important thing, Sarah. In case you don't know who we are, I represent Search with Candour. These two lovely people represent the SEO Mindset podcast. And every single time before Brighton for the last it's our sixth one?
It is our sixth one.
Very exciting. We do a live podcast talking about topics that we think go under-discussed in the SEO industry. Very much the kind of things that you guys do on the SEO Mindset. And yeah, it's become a lovely collaborative pre-conference kind of tradition and ritual over the last 6 Brightons.
Tradition.
Definitely, yeah, it's become a tradition.
I mean, if we can start spreading that, so whenever you do socials, call this the new Brighton SEO tradition or just the Brighton SEO tradition, and then maybe we can.
Yeah, are we new after 6? I don't know if that counts as new.
No, probably not. Probably not.
But anyway, I'll pass it over to you, Tasman, to introduce the SEO Mindset podcast.
So the SEO Mindset podcast started when Sarah and I had a chat about podcasting in general, and we were both really passionate about the struggles that some people faced in the industry, and we wanted to do something about it. I'd never met her, never thought about doing a podcast, and that's how it was born. And all of the topics we discussed, the aim is to help somebody in the industry get over that little bit of a hurdle that they are facing in their path of career success. So we talk about the soft skills that don't often get talked about, certainly not very many training courses on it, and the well-being element, because if you want to have longevity and enjoy your career, then without your mental health, it's just not going to happen. So that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I think you nailed that. Let's get a woo. Who has heard about the SEO Mindset podcast before? Who got some woo? Again,
That's a good woo.
I'm just doing everything for my ego tonight. I'm very sorry.
That's what this whole podcast is about, Sarah. It's all about boosting your ego.
All about me.
And I host the Search with Candour podcast, which is a weekly, usually interview show with some of the coolest, most interesting and funniest, and many people in the audience have been on the show before. Cool people in SEO, and Mark and I, who is sat just over there, also do a monthly news show talking about the latest topics, things we've seen on LinkedIn, interesting things that we want to talk about in the industry. And yeah, it's been an element of trying to bring people who don't often get chances to speak, or giving people first opportunities to get out there and grow their career and build their brand and put their face and voice out there. It's kind of been a nice growth over the last, I've been hosting it for 3 years now, and yeah, collaborating with these guys for 6 events. I missed one, but we don't talk about that one.
Yeah, because Jack decided to prioritise a wedding over the live podcast.
Family duties, yeah.
We did nearly sack you all together, Jack.
Wow, I didn't know that. You're airing out the dirty laundry. Thank you, Tasman. Thank you.
Willow Mac just did such a good job.
It's all Sarah.
But Sarah, you want to talk about the topic we're going to be talking about this evening?
It'd be a bit awkward if I was just like, no, you've all got to guess. No, so tonight we're talking about social health and how it can help. So being intentional with our social health and how it can really help with career progression. Now, I think there was a bit of confusion when we were talking about social health, because a lot of people are like, why are you talking about social health care? And we're like, no, we're not talking about social health care. I mean, we could try and get that in. But no, so social health, and it probably makes sense, just so we're all on the same page, to sort of just quickly say what social health is. So social health is about being intentional with who we surround ourselves with, yeah? And who can build us up, who's going to help us, who's going to progress us, all of that lovely stuff. So it's a really important topic. And yeah, that's what we're going to be discussing tonight. So very excited.
Definitely. Before we get to that, we have some lovely sponsors who we've been working with, who make this all possible, essentially. And we're going to kick things off with, of course, Mr. Steve Payne from SISTRIX, our headline sponsor. Hand over to you, Steve. Come on over. Round of applause for Steve, everybody. Get a mic.
Oh, mate, they do this to me every time. They're like, you're the sponsor, you get some time to do slides and stuff. And I'm like, no, it doesn't really fit in. We need to get onto the topic at hand. But so I sent them some slides and they've chucked them all in here. Can I click them forward? Is that going to happen? I'll just quickly go through some of the things because it's interesting to see what Google thinks this topic is. And to see who ranks for this topic. I've got some LLM data as well. All this will be packed into an email for you and anyone that's on the email list. So I will just quickly flick through. Right. So basically, I just chucked the word social health into one of our tools to try and see what Google thinks. You can actually do this yourself. All you do is you put social health into Google, get the first 10 URLs and use a tool to find out all the keywords for which those URLs are ranking. And then you get a really nice bubble of what Google thinks relates to social health. So this is what came up. I'll just zoom in. So the first thing, and I've ordered them by search volume, is not social health. So social well-being came up first. And I don't know if that's a term that's a UK-focused term. We haven't got social media or social health care in there, which is good. Google seems to put a nice little keyword set together. We can also get the questions out of it as well. And do you remember in April, we had about 25 different variants of the 4 versions or the 4 ways to, or the 5 ways or the 7 ways. Yeah, it's up here again. The 5 ways, the 10 things. I think we're all pretty well triggered by those sort of listicles. So they're in there as well. And the nice thing with that big set of questions, and Mark will know this because he does a lot of stuff like this, is you can chuck them into LLM prompt monitoring tools and start to sort of get a feel for what's happening in the chatbots as well, which are, I think, quite important for this topic because people will have deeper conversations with the chatbots. And so these questions putting into a chatbot are quite interesting. This is the long-term search volume trend for it, which includes post-COVID stuff there. So I think that's quite interesting. There's peaks that happen around November and January, I think unsurprisingly. But the background search level is fairly stable. So you've got those little peaks, which do seem to be going down over the year. So I think that's quite an interesting one. Maybe you can sort of refer to that post-COVID thing, especially very interesting. One of the trend keywords that I found, there's not a lot of trend keywords in this area, but social wellness seems to be a term that maybe is coming over from the US. I'm not sure. Maybe you can talk about that later. I won't go into this, but I did look at the number of AIOs, so the automatic answers from Google that are coming up in the search. 88% of the keywords had an AIO box, and that is huge. The top health sites get around 60 to 70%. An average at the moment is about 15%. Reddit is there with, I think, 24%. So 88% means Google is really quite confident about trying to answer some of these questions. I personally think that, those sort of... When we see an AIO box, it's probably likely going to end up as in AI mode in the future. So interesting that's going to be a conversational thing. Yeah, that's the AIO. There's some of the LLM data. I'm not going to go through this. I will talk about quickly the leading domains, which I see are not very UK-centric. NIH.gov, hif.com.au, Australia, I don't even know that. World Health Organization and The Guardian are in there. There's no other newspapers in there, but a very global set of domains are coming up in UK search as the authority for sort of these queries. There's a little bit of a zoom in. I'm not going to go into the chatbot data, but it's very interesting to see some of the entities that come out around this topic, and maybe we can talk about some of those this evening, because I think, let's see if the chatbots are talking about the right thing, because that's important, right? Maybe tonight we can write it all up and teach the chatbots a few things. Okie doke. So we're SISTRIX. Also sponsoring tonight, you'll mention it hopefully, Majestic, Whitworth SEO, and Good Signals, who do a lovely podcast on Friday. A live podcast is really good. Check in on that. And I'm speaking on Friday morning. Plug, 9:30. Wake up early in the Skyline room. And I hope to see you there. Let's get on with the podcast.
Thank you very much.
I feel like Steve kind of did my job for me there. I was going to mention all the other sponsors, but you kind of already did it, Steve. I appreciate that.
You can say that again.
I'll mention him again.
Do it again.
You give them a clap.
Hopefully you've all been enjoying the pizza and the snacks and things. That is all thanks to the lovely folks at Majestic who have been brilliant at supporting us. I know Steve and Matt are in the audience over there somewhere. I see those guys. They've supported us a long time. Round of applause for Majestic, everybody. Really, really appreciate Majestic support. And Steve mentioned 2 new sponsors we've been working with for the drinks. So all of the soft drinks, the alcoholic drinks, all that kind of stuff. First, we'll say a huge thank you to Mike and Good Signals. Thank you, Mike. And second of all, Charlie Whitworth and Whitworth SEO in the back there. Thank you, Charlie. There'll be links for everybody in the email we'll send out afterwards. You can go and check out all of the fantastic sponsors. And yeah, thank you guys so much for supporting this, making this possible. And to tease potential future plans, we did view a bigger venue earlier today for the next potential live podcast. Hopefully expanding and exciting things like that.
I feel like now you've said it, it's going to have to happen, isn't it?
Or I've massively jinxed us, yeah.
Everyone touch wood. Let's, not jinx ourselves.
Exactly. We want to give a huge shout out to Silicon Brighton and the team there as well. They've been hugely supportive of us, including our fantastic AV guy, Mr. Cameron over there. Thank you, Cameron. And last but not least, this amazing venue, Projects, has been really supportive of us over the last 6 podcasts. And yeah, it's been a fun, fantastic, brilliant time working with those guys. And yeah, huge thank you to Projects. A little bit of round of applause for Projects as well. And that is all of the thank yous and the sponsors and things. Should we actually get into the podcast now?
Probably.
Probably should, right? So we kind of defined what social health is. Steve already talked about what Google thinks social health is. But what does social health and social self-care mean to you? And what does it mean to be good at it? And what does good social health feel like? Sarah, I'll pass it over to you.
Oh, do I get to go first?
Get to kick things off, mate.
Oh, well, that's very exciting. So, social health. So we're very familiar with physical health. Yeah, we all know that we need to look after our bodies and we need to, do the exercise, look after and make sure that's all tickety-boo. I've never said tickety-boo before. What happened there? Anyway, so we've got physical health. We've also got mental health, yeah? So we're all very familiar about looking after our brain and being really conscious about mental well-being, all of that lovely stuff. But what's quite interesting is social health, because it doesn't get talked about a lot. And what was quite interesting is, because it's always interesting how we pick up topics or decide topics for the live podcast. And something that I was key to explore, which kind of feeds into social health, is loneliness. Yeah, there's lots of people that feel lonely in personal life, but also in work life as well. And loneliness, because when I first said about loneliness to Tasman and Jack, they kind of looked at me like, what? I never feel lonely.
Tasman said that. I didn't say
Oh, am I putting words into your mouth? But when I sort of explained it more, because loneliness can come in lots of different forms. And the weirdest thing is still feeling lonely when you're surrounded by a lot of people. I don't know if anyone's ever felt that before.
Hopefully nobody's feeling it right now. I have fingers crossed.
Yeah, that'd be a
Apart
bit
from Crystal in the back there, apparently.
But with the feeling loneliness when you're surrounded by people, that's a key indication that are you being intentional with who surrounds you? And when I'm talking about being intentional, it's all about who inspires you, who encourages you, and who supports you, right? So I wouldn't be sat here doing a live podcast, even doing a podcast, if it wasn't for these two and meeting these two people. I wouldn't be running my own freelance business, Lyrebird Studios, if, I hadn't met certain people and I was intentional about who was surrounding me there. I wouldn't be speaking at Brighton SEO. So sometimes it's about being really intentional with who we can surround ourselves with that's going to push us or inspire us or to really help us, you know, like when you have that bonkers dream and people look at you like, what you going on, Sarah? Like, what's that? Or what's your recent fad that you're trying? But it's more about having people that are aligned and get you. And when you talk about a bonkers idea, they don't see it as a bonkers idea. They're like, yes, Sarah, you can do it. So it's all about that. But also on the flip side, who drains you? So have you ever come away from a meeting or being with people and you feel that kind of energy where you're just like, ugh, you're just like, everything is just drained from you and you're just not feeling like you had a good time. So it's, me and Tasman talk a lot about being self-aware and picking up on our gut and all of that lovely stuff that's going on. So it's being in tune with that. So who are you surrounded by when you come away feeling uplifted and wanting to do stuff? And who is it that doesn't do that for you, and you've sort of come away thinking, thank God I'm finally away from that, and that half an hour felt like an hour. So I don't know if that's a very waffly way of explaining social health, but that's how I would explain it.
Tasman, do you want to talk about what does it mean to you? What does good social health mean to you?
I think for me, good social health is where those relationships energize me, where there's a synergy. And often we talk about work-life balance. And I don't really like that term because it's almost like you've got these two things tussling with each other. I prefer the term work-life synergy. So if you imagine yourself and you're looking after your physical health and your mental health, and that's energizing you, and hopefully you're in a career that inspires you, helps you to grow. So that energy that you have goes into your career and that further energizes you. And then you have relationships that energize you, which just brings you back again to that flywheel. And if you can get to that point, that's a very beautiful point to be. When Sarah talked about this loneliness element, in my personal life, I've never felt lonely. But I would admit that in work life sometimes, you know, especially going on this path. And with relationships, so there are many people in my life that don't get what I do. And I'll mention my husband. He's an accountant, you know, the coach and the accountant, very, very different. You know, you look at our whiteboards and mine's full of all of this coachy stuff and his has got like charts and things, very different people. But what he does give me is the feeling of safety that I can trust him. So if I come to him and say, I've had this idea, he will say, go and do it. I don't get any of it, but I'm here for you. So you don't always have to be aligned to that level. So for me, good social health is where I feel safe, I feel trusted, I feel that other people trust me as well. It's not just what I get, it's what I can give, because you know we've been blessed with 5 children and 3 grandchildren and another one on the way. And these are relationships where you are trusted. And that's a huge responsibility, but also a huge privilege. So all of that, it's synergy for me.
Yeah, I like that, the shift, the work-life balance, like you said, being a thing where it feels like it pushes and pulls. And for me, I think there's a lot of that element of when one is going well, another side of that can struggle, right? You're certainly focused on your career, your personal life might struggle, or vice versa. And I agree with you, Tasman. Ideally, you want to be in that position where they positively reinforce each other and feed into each other. And it was interesting, some of the data Steve was pointing out, that post-COVID kind of spike. We're talking about the loneliness there. Obviously, clearly, a lot of us being forced to work from home. Plenty of us in SEO already do that anyway, but I think there's a lot of that kind of like disconnect when we can only interact online, and actually having moments like this and like Brighton SEO and meetups and things like that. That really gives that ability to connect with people more directly and have these kind of conversations and build new things. And like, oh yeah, I definitely want to go and see this person speak or go to this particular meetup because I know this guy's going to be there or whatever. For me, that ends up being a a really nice way to forge those new professional relationships that can then be friendships or whatever it is, and also feed that into your personal life as well, and have that kind of connection that's not just we're all kind of working from home, we're all completely remote and separate. And I think there is still value in that, don't get me wrong. There is plenty of value in video calls and catching up with people across the world and things like that. But I think that kind of leads nicely into the next question is, why can it be so difficult for us to do this, right? I think for me, a lot of it is that distance and that online side of things. And there's a lot of that kind of, like you said, Tasman, the pressure, the work-life balance kind of things. And it can be difficult to keep both things going, keep both sides of your life maintained. How do you feel about that, Tasman? How difficult it can be to maintain good social health?
I think it's also the current culture where you're taught, if you're really busy at work, then you don't stop at that time. You carry on and you carry on, and then you miss dinner time with family and you miss interactions with people as if that's an okay thing to do, and it's not. It absolutely isn't not. I come from a lineage of entrepreneurs. My grandfather went to Australia to retire and then ended up building one of the biggest sports companies in New South Wales, but he never missed dinner time. He went to work, he came home at 12, he had lunch, he had a nap. We lived in Tanzania at the time. He then went back to work, came home at 5 and had dinner and then read the paper. And if you want to have a long career, then sometimes you've got a project and you've got to work on it, and that's fine. And again, in communication. So I said to my husband, October, November, December are going to be, lively months for me. And that then impacts the other things we choose what to do and what not to do. But you can't sustain that without that relationship being damaged. And that relationship isn't a nice to have in your career progression. It's a vital component of what's going to help you become successful. But I think, so the culture makes it difficult. Working from home makes it difficult. I think a lot of people post-COVID are choosing to do their own thing, their own side hustle or whatever it is. I chose to do that. And that means that the world that you've lived in suddenly is very, your world is suddenly very different. My friend circle are talking about retiring, and I'm growing a business. So you can feel professionally disconnected. So I think that sometimes is difficult for me. And I think personally, people think that just because you're a coach, you've got it all figured out. So sometimes it's really hard to be able to say to someone, really struggling with this, and having that type of conversation, because, and that's probably, more of a me thing, that you don't want to feel vulnerable. But one thing I do want to talk about, why during COVID, for organizations, so much went online. Training went online, all of that then became cheaper. I remember back in the day, you'd have company days and you'd get together and make pizzas or climb hills or whatever it was. And it was an accepted expense in organizations' budgets that they would do these team building things. Even training budgets have been, they've been shrinking. And I think that's not helpful. And there is this desire in people to be able to learn together, bond together. And I see it professionally where some organizations are realizing that a group training is far better than just saying, okay, here you go off and do that thing.
I want to pick on two things that were said. First things first, Tasman, you do have your shit together. Like, come on. You're known as the Zen Queen.
I know, but I got angry the other day.
Did you?
Yeah. I got so angry at a snake.
Can anyone imagine an angry Tasman? It just doesn't really compute.
I was so cross. And I did not take my own advice. So I always advise myself and other people that if you fall out with someone, get back to normal as quickly as possible. Simple things like ask them, do you want a cup of tea? Doesn't mean that you don't resolve and discuss that, but just get back to normal. Did I do that? Did I heck? 2 days I sulked.
You held a grudge.
It was awful. My productivity went down. We didn't get to discuss about which flooring we were going to have. It's all very awful.
So big learning, don't fall out with Tasmin because, yeah. But anyway, so I think it's really hard to be vulnerable, isn't it? Because especially in a work capacity, because it kind of doesn't kind of compute. Because especially when I was first in the SEO career, I thought I had to put on a bit of a front and I thought I had to know everything. And I felt all the pressure of being okay to put my hands up and say I don't know something or ask a question or lean on support. So I think being vulnerable is really hard, isn't it? Because you're not really taught how to be vulnerable. So there's that element. And it also sounds like there's an element of prioritizing the wrong thing. And I do this all the time. And my partner's in the audience. Big whoop to Tash. Hello, Tash. So yes, we have conversations so many times where I'm on this podcast giving all this wonderful advice about what I should be doing or what you should be doing to be more healthy. And it's really hard to actually do the stuff because you end up prioritizing the wrong thing. So instead of having a dinner together, you end up working till 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock at night because you've got this pressure on you to get this thing done. And actually, it's about, yes, you could get better at time management, you could do all of this stuff, you could get better at prioritization, but the biggest learning for me is being vulnerable and sort of saying to a client or saying to someone, I'm very sorry, I can't get this thing done because I really struggle with the fear of rejection, with vulnerability as well. So if I'm letting someone down, both professionally, but personally, it's a big thing. So that's where the pressure comes in. And that's where I end up prioritizing the wrong thing. I end up prioritizing getting a campaign done or keeping a client happy over having a meaningful relationship, getting a bit deep there, meaningful dinner and conversation with Tash, or taking the time out to take Benny the dog for a longer walk. And we just end up prioritizing the wrong things. And I don't know if that's kind of resonating in the room right now. But another thing that I want to say is imposter syndrome. So this one's a little bit of a different one because earlier I was saying about being intentional with who you want to surround yourself with to build yourself up. So it might be that right now in your inner circle, you don't have access to those people. So it's about finding ways to reach out and have a relationship with someone that's going to help you. And I think sometimes we get in our heads, imposter syndrome comes in, and we fear just reaching out to someone because we think they're going to laugh at us, don't we? Or we think they're going to just shoot us down. But 9 times out of 10, any time that I've reached out to someone and I've asked for support or I've asked for advice or anything to help me, 3 things normally happen. Most of the time, they do respond, which is lovely. But even if they don't respond, it's never really horribly or anything. Normally there is no response, and that's because we're all busy, yeah? Or they might just say, do you know what? I really want to support you right now, Sarah, but I don't have the capacity. And they might sort of give you someone else to. So I just really want to encourage anyone to get out of your brain and... Because I know you hate the word imposter syndrome, don't you? But I think it does. You do. But
maybe it's an age thing. Maybe it doesn't happen.
But I think
you don't care anymore. You just think, oh, whatever.
Be more Tasmin then, and then you won't ever have imposter syndrome. But who in this room has not done something or said something to someone because of imposter syndrome? Yeah, let's all raise our hands and just see in the room, right? So this horrible imposter syndrome is getting in the way. So if one thing, just be a bit more brave and put yourself out there, because usually humans are nice. usually humans will sort of support you. If they don't, that's a massive red flag and you can run off. So that's fine. But I would say that's what I would say.
Yeah, definitely. What are some of the ways we can actively nurture that stuff? Then you mentioned, Sarah, being that kind of breaking through that barrier and reaching out to people and choosing to have those conversations. I guess, do you then have a particular process that you go through to maintain friendships and relationships and things like that? I am really terrible for just kind of ghosting people and being like, yeah, I'll see you next time, mate, no problem. Don't speak for 6 months and, oh yeah, we should really meet again, and then doing that again. Very guilty of that, and I definitely need to be better at that. And
so there's probably a lot of people in this room still waiting for...
Genuinely, yes, probably, yes.
That's what's going on.
Well, everyone's staring at me right now, frowning at me.
So with the imposter syndrome and figuring out who's going to build you up, that's about knowing what success is for you. So have a little think and plan out, okay, in the next 6 months, a year, 2 years, 5 years, where do you want to be? What do you want to do? And sort of, as you're planning that out, pinpoint the kind of people that you need and pinpoint the people that you already have access to, but then the people that you don't, that's your cue to be like, okay, what can I do here? And most of us will be here at Brighton SEO conference. That's a lovely time to like go out, be intentional, find people that you can connect with. I'm a big fan of LinkedIn. I really promised myself that I wouldn't say, I said something at the last live and it didn't go down very well, but I was talking about sliding into DMs and I got a
slippery Sarah strikes again.
But it works, like finding... Anyway, get back on track, Sarah. Don't go down that way. But
you'll get Jordan and Mark giggling again in the crowd.
But it works, doesn't it?
They're looking at you, see?
Just
both blushing.
But finding people on LinkedIn, reaching out to them, not in a sleazy way, in a nice way, and yeah, building up your connections that way. Hobbies is a great way of maintaining relationships. What blew my mind is, okay, so before SEO, I was a roller derbyer. I don't know if there's any fellow roller derbyers in the room, but my roller derby name was Badass Bambi. Thank you. Because I'm a bit limmy, but Bambi is not very scary, so I put badass on the beginning, so I had a bit of fear about me. But what's really interesting is, so roller derby was a big thing of like my life, and I really enjoyed that hobby. And what's really lovely is it's carried on. Like when I'm building and maintaining relationships, there's quite a few people that are also roller derbyers. So having a hobby is really key because it's a great way of like meeting people. It's a great way of being creative, doing stuff that's outside your comfort zone. Also, you don't have to be good at a hobby. I remember, like when I was younger, I decided to have singing lessons. Can I sing? No, I can't. And I still can't sing. And
I was going to ask for something now. Yeah.
Well, yes, we won't go there. All I remember was there was a song we had to sing about salami blues. That's all I remember from those times. But anyway, so the main thing is pick a hobby, but you don't have to be good at the hobby. Just pick a hobby that you know you're going to find enjoyment from, and that's a great way of meeting people. Coffee. So we already mentioned about working from home, and I understand about actually meeting people in the flesh. But if you can't always do that, a virtual coffee. Organise virtual coffees with people and just check in with people. Just, every so often, if you realise, okay, it's been a while since I've spoke to such and such person, so one of the big things that I love about Brighton SEO is twice a year, I get to catch up with a load of people that I haven't in a long time. And yes, I do go to all the talks and I learn and I enrich my brain and all of that lovely stuff. But it's really good for my social health as well, because I get to connect with my friends again and nerd out about SEO and not SEO, nerd out about roller derby and talk about our cool little trick shots that we used to do and all of that stuff. But yeah, so my tip there is start roller derby. That's what I would say. What is roller derby?
Oh, it's a whole other podcast, Steve.
Dude, I won't.
It's on SISTRIX.
We need to get the SISTRIX data on roller derby.
Whip It. Watch Whip It.
The film Whip It.
The film Whip It. Watch Whip It, and that's all you need to know.
Starring Badass Bambi.
Starring Badass Bambi. Thank you very much.
Every podcast we do, something else comes
There's
out.
going to be some new Sarah nickname or story or something every time. How about you, Tasmin?
I get the feeling that, this topic can feel vague. And Sarah, what you were saying is with physical health, one metric, if you like, is, if I walk 10,000 steps, or if I eat 5 a day. So there isn't really a lot in public knowledge, especially more in the States, I think. So I want to give one tip for quality of your relationships and one for quantity. So with the quality, we hear often there's this phrase, you are the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with. Who's heard that phrase? Yeah. Write down the 5 people that you spend the most time with, and for each one, give 5 qualities of that person. So they might be solution focused, they might be really great in a crisis, they may be a bit moany, or maybe really good at roller derby or whatever.
Good quality, be really
No, I'm not talking about good quality. Quality, just quality, right?
Yes.
Characteristics. And do that for each 5. And then look at the 25 words that you would use to describe the 5 people that you spend the most time with. When we're talking about synergy in your life, that's the energy that those relationships are bringing into your life. Is that going to help your flywheel or not? Crystal's got questions.
When you say 5 people you spend, you mean like physically or online? Because there's some people that I talk to online all the time.
You have to choose. Who are the 5 that have the most influence over you? It's your thing. I'm just giving you the framework. So that gives you, what's the quality of my relationships? And that's a really good way of doing it. With the quantity, now this isn't my framework. In the email that we'll send everyone, there will be a link to a TED Talk, which is by a woman called Cassie Killam. She's in the States. She talks about social health a lot. And she has this model called the 5-3-1. I think it was in one of your metrics. So as I'm reading it, think about how often do you do this? So the 5 is connect with 5 different people a week. Do you all do that? 5 different people a week. The 3 is maintain at least 3 close relationships. So that's not a week, that's like in general.
Per week, yeah.
Per week.
3 new close relationships per week.
This is a lot of work,
Very
guys.
busy, yeah.
Well, Sarah McDowell.
I do that from Jack.
And the 1 is 1 hour of quality interaction per day. So this is what she recommends, that you should have 5, connect with 5 different people a week, maintain at least 3 close relationships, and have 1 quality hour of interaction a day. So if you're looking for a framework, how many people can put their hands up and say, nailed all 3 every single week? Yeah, brilliant. Crystal?
About 2, by the looks.
2.
Definitely not me.
So if you're looking for a more metric-based measure of what good social health looks like, that's what she recommends.
It's a good framework.
Yeah, I think that hour of specific, focused, quality time, I think, is the thing. Something I've been trying to do more of, and be present in that hour as well. I know, like playing board games with some friends, or playing D&D with friends, or video games, or just sitting and talking, or watching a movie, or whatever it is. not having your phone like there and present, not checking emails, not checking social media, actually being present and having those conversations and being in the moment, actively listening to people, not kind of being distracted. As someone with ADHD is very easily distracted. But yeah, I'm trying to be more present in those moments and be more conscious and aware of the quality time that I'm spending with people.
But taking it a little bit more philosophical, I'm wondering whether that one of those close relationships is with yourself, because one of the things that my social health requires me to do is spend less time with people. We have such a big family, and we all seem to live like 5 minutes away. Currently, we're knocking down one of the walls between two rooms because we can't fit them all in one room.
There was 40-something cousins you mentioned?
He's got 41 first cousins.
Good Lord.
On just one side of his family. We didn't even bother counting.
I have 3, I think.
And a very casual Sunday dinner with just casual family is 25.
That is
Good
not a
Lord.
casual dinner. That's
like 6 generations of my family.
So being able to spend time reflecting, journaling, thinking about what I want to do next in social life, career life, whatever, that's really important to me.
Yeah, definitely. I think that is something I definitely relate to as well. I mean, we talked about it on a previous episode as well. Me being such an introvert and being somebody who gets energy and recharges from that alone time and that quiet time. And as much as fun as Brighton SEO is and doing things like this and can be really energizing, after this, I'm going to have a very quiet weekend basically to myself doing nothing. And I need to not talk to any of you for like 48 hours. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Don't message him and say we should hang out.
Yeah, exactly. That happens over the next couple of days and then I just need to disappear. Yeah, I think that's been not necessarily the biggest learning thing for me this year, but that presence and that quality time, and also, like you said, Tasmin, taking the time for myself away from things, learning to not check Slack notifications out of work hours or answer emails or whatever, or just being aware of when I would be best at doing that. I mean, like, okay, no, I should actually put a thing in my calendar of go and see my friend Matt at this time, and actually book a thing in the calendar and not just say like, yeah, I'll see you next week, mate, no problem. I'm so bad at being very vague with those kind of details. Actually book a thing in my calendar so I'm aware of when it's happening, so I hold myself accountable to it as well, has made a big difference in how often I am staying in contact with people. Like I said, I've been very bad at that. I am bad at ghosting people, as I'm sure plenty of people in this room can attest to. So that's been a big thing for me. Sarah, do you have a tip for us or anything like that you want to share?
Big tip.
Your big tip?
My big tip is to start roller derby. I swear by it.
Fair enough.
No,
Badass Bambi's big tips. That sounds ruder than when I said it out loud.
Let's not make that a thing. So my big tip for looking after your social health is, I'm going to go back to, because when I asked the room how many times imposter syndrome has got in the way of them doing something, in the next couple of days, do something that puts you a bit outside of your comfort zone. And that thing that you've been putting off, or that person that you want to reach out to, or whatever it is, you want to start a new hobby, you want to try singing, whatever it is, just bloody well do it. Put yourself out there.
People could just start singing on the main conference floor now. There's just to be like spontaneous flash mobs and choruses and stuff.
But how many times has the fear of doing something been worse than the actual doing? Yeah? And if you don't like the thing, you don't have to do it again. Do you? Unless you're like a bit of a sadist and you want that. But it's going to be much better for your social health, your social well-being, your relationships, if you just try stuff. Because I don't know if this is a bit lame, and you've heard this so many times, but when you look back on your life, you're never going to regret trying something, are you? You're going to regret not trying something. So just do stuff, try it. Get outside your comfort zone. The more times you get out your comfort zone, the easier it becomes, I think. And remember, we still have our reptilian brain, don't we, or something. So I'm not going conspiracy here. I'm not saying we're all like lizard people.
The royal family of reptiles, we know, yeah.
Stay with me here. So from the times back in the day when we had to survive against tigers, yeah, You're looking. Look, just stay with me. It makes sense.
She is going so off
Not
script.
conspiracy theories. We're going evolutionary biology now. Like.
But you're.
Thank you.
Thank you. But you. Also known as your reptilian.
I don't know that bit, but the hypothalamus is the bit that you're talking about.
So it's there to protect you.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
the thing that stops you from jumping off.
See, I'm not just going.
Or getting attacked by a tiger.
Or attacked by a
That
tiger.
too.
Run into one in Brighton,
There might be a zoo. No, there's got to be a zoo in Brighton. But anyway,
Worcester.
you're all derailing me. I need to get my point out here. So there's a part in our brain that sees perceived fear. And that kicks in when we start getting outside of our comfort zone, because our brain's like, oh, this isn't comfy. I don't feel very safe. And then those thoughts come into your brain, don't they? Of like all the things that could go wrong. So I remember the first time ever stepping on stage at Brighton SEO, and I was like, what if I trip up on the stage? What if I stand up and my trousers fall down? Like all those kind of things. That's your brain trying to sort of protect you from this perceived fear that's not really fear, is it? Like, because those things aren't going to happen. So rather than that, it's about retraining your brain and being like, that's ridiculous. What's better is visualizing, manifesting. So when you decide, okay, this is the one thing that I want to do, rather than visualizing all the things that could go wrong, visualize what's the best case scenario. Yeah, what would be a lovely way if you visualize it, make it happen. So just get out your head, people, and just try stuff. That's what I would say. Like all your younger versions of like yourself. So if I think back to Sarah under 10, like I had no fear. You used to do stuff all the time and try new stuff. So that's what I would say.
You want to add to that, Tasmin?
So we were talking about social care and how to progress your career and by having good social care. During the next 2 days at the conference, think about 5 people that would really help your career, as Sarah started talking about earlier. Go and talk to them. And then each week or each month, keep in touch with them. And then that would really help your 5 that you've got to connect with every week anyway.
Framework.
But think about what is it that you want to do? Do you want to get better at public speaking? Go and talk to one of the speakers. Do you want to get better at whatever it is that you want to do? Maybe there's somebody that you admire and you'd like to be connected with them because you think that you'll learn a lot from them. Go and find them, connect with them. Because everyone is here to meet other people. You'd be crazy to come to a conference and think, okay, I don't want to talk to anyone. People are here to meet each other. So that would be my tip. And if you want to connect with Jack, if he says we should catch up soon, ask him when. And get him to
Just
put
start
in
tapping your watch angrily at me.
and then get him to put it in his diary. So that's my tip if you want to connect with Jack.
Well, if any of you want to connect or get out of your comfort zone, we can start a little Q&A section. We have a thing called the catch box, which is, in fact, a microphone. Hold on, Cameron, if you can turn it on for me. You can talk to the top of it like this. Hold on, come on. There we go. It's not working. There we go. It's sort of a microphone. You have to talk to the little top here. Would anyone like to share a story, ask a question, or anything like that? And I'll throw a box at you.
Say about the box.
I'm about to. Don't worry.
Sorry.
Further away. Thanks, Cameron. And yeah, we will get a copy of SEO in 2025 by the wonderful Majestic. If you ask a question, share a story. We have plenty of books to give out, so come and check them out.
They are very heavy, these books, so full to the brim of knowledge.
I'll throw the catch box at you. I won't throw a book at you.
Yes.
So.
Don't throw the box.
Would anyone like to share a story, ask a question? Will, over in the corner there. I will throw a box at you, mate. Ready to catch? Lovely stuff.
How close do I have to talk? Is that right?
That sounds about right.
All right, I'm going to share a story. So, I used to work in a job that was, can I swear?
Say what you like, mate.
It was fucking horrible. Fucking horrible people who ground me down every single day and made me feel like I was shit at everything I did. It was awful. Didn't like it at all. And then I changed jobs, and I've moved to the agency I'm at now, and it's fucking brilliant. Wonderful people who encourage me to get outside my comfort zone and do shit, which is, I'm speaking at Brighton SEO on Friday. But the huge thing, the biggest thing, was that in my last job, I was constantly told that my writing was shit, which I knew it wasn't, but it really ground me down. 4 weeks ago, I spoke at CopyCon, which is probably the biggest copywriting conference, certainly in the UK. It's a big one in the world. So I just want to say, fuck you, Jane.
Would anybody else like to share a story? Tell a former employer to go fuck themselves, anything like that? We're just sharing trauma stories now.
It could be therapeutic.
They can, yeah. It's turning into a therapy session now, right?
I'll go because I actually had an experience last week that it was very, very good. So I walked the Camino, the Pilgrim's Way. I don't know if you know what is that, but basically I walked for like 100 kilometers, and I have met a lot of people along the way. And I have learned a few things on that week, which is, one, how much I need people. One of the things that I notice is that the more I spend with myself, the more I want to spend with myself, and you become really lazy, and you don't realize that how much you need people and interact with people and just have a chat, even if it's just about the weather. It really, really helps. So yeah, I think it's like everything. It's like a muscle that you train, and the more social you are, the more social you want to be. So yeah, that's my experience.
Well, bounce it off Jordan's head, it'll be fine.
So I used to be super bad at English language, coming from Germany, so it's my second language. And yeah, at one point I just decided to volunteer at some events outside of the country, and suddenly my marks were better, and now I'm even speaking at the conference. Woo!
Across the room. It's a long shot.
Oh, come on, you can do it.
Oh,
Hey.
good catch. Well done.
Great throw. Fantastic
I love
throw.
how supportive this room is. It's lovely.
I just wanted to go back to something you said about trying a hobby. And a hobby is a great way to meet. So I'll admit to you all in this room now that, God, you're all looking at me. I'm really bad at saying hello to people I don't know. Like, if I don't know something, I just assume that nobody has any interest in anything that I've got to say. So this in itself is somewhat remarkable. But trying hobbies is something that I found, and this is kind of a running joke in our own agency. So we have, on a Friday morning, we pick a person at random, and they have to give a presentation on whatever they want to do. And the 8 presentations I've done so far have been about all the random hobbies I've tried throughout the years. And the one that I did on the previous Friday was a speed round of 10 hobbies that we just didn't have time to fit them all in, ultimately. But I think you're right. I think trying hobbies is something that it pushes you outside of something you're necessarily comfortable with, but you really don't have to be good at them. And I'm somebody that, if I'm not good at something, I want nothing to do with it. Like, if I don't think I'm going to be good at something, I've really struggled to actually push myself to try it. But some of the best people I've ever met, particularly through like running, and long distance running in particular, you meet some really like amazing people that are just like normal, regular people. And then you talk to them and you kind of wheedle their story out of them over the miles, and they're like, they do these fantastic things. And yeah, you never know that without actually putting yourself out there. So I guess what I'm kind of in a very roundabout way trying to say, like, if there isn't something that you are particularly interested in, just find a local group. Like, a lot of the hobbies that I've done have been through just kind of randomly happening upon a local group that does something, and then you get involved in it, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, so the most recent one was bouldering. Somebody invited me along to go climbing. I'm not exactly a climber-shaped person, but it's really good fun, and everybody there was really nice. And this whole thing of like, oh my God, I don't want to turn up and everybody look at me and realize I'm rubbish at climbing. But I got there and everybody's like, oh yeah, no, if you want to get up that bit, you should try doing it this way and all that sort of stuff. So, like you say, generally, people are nice and they will help you. And if they don't, then just don't go back.
Good catch again. Well done.
That was a miracle that I caught that. I want to do a little bit of a defense of remote work. There was a lot of commentary throughout about, remote work and the way that it's affected us socially. And I just wanted to put it out there that for someone like me, I'm quite introverted, and also neurodivergent. And so the office environment has not always been a healthy place for me socially. Trying to navigate these kinds of relationships where the only reason we're even speaking to each other is because we were employed by the same person, and trying to navigate those differences and interests and understandings and communication, particularly. I found having just any kind of conversation with someone else very, very difficult. Just to give you an example, I was having lunch in the lunchroom one day, and one of the other workers comes in, and I'm the only person to talk to, so she subjected herself. And she's saying, it's, I don't know why, but when it gets cold, I just get so hungry. I wonder why that is. And stupid me, I heard a question, and I was like, I know the answer to this question. She's gonna love this. So I start explaining to her all the biological reasons that we get more hungry when the weather gets colder.
I feel like we need to know. I mean, I'm intrigued.
So? Yeah. So when it gets colder, your metabolism starts to slow down because we used to live seasonally, right? So if, weevils get into your stock, the rats eat all the food, you need to be able to live through the winter. So your metabolism slows right down. And right as it gets cold, your body's going to make you eat more to store energy so that in case you lose all your food, you're not going to starve to death. Super interesting, right?
Very interesting. And I think you've got everyone hooked as well.
Yeah, she looked at me like I was insane. She immediately stopped making eye contact with me, stopped talking to me, the whole show. And I also did not pick up on that signal at all. I thought the conversation was still going. So I was making very direct eye contact with her to be like, I'm still conversing. No, it wasn't. It was a no-go. So just even those everyday little misunderstandings, I found remote work puts my work front and center, and the social aspects become so much more voluntary and they're so much more enjoyable rather than the constant social persona that's put forward in a work environment, like in office.
I think also what's important here is just because you work with someone or your team and stuff, it doesn't mean that you're going to get on, really. No. And I think that's important to remember. And we sort of said this, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. No. And it's being okay with that. I'm a massive people pleaser, and I've already said about the fear of rejection. I really struggled with that. But actually, once you get comfortable with, just like not everyone's my cup of tea, we're just all different. And I think it's reminding ourselves that just because we're in a work setting, we don't have to be best friends. Obviously, be respectful and do the work and stuff like that. But this is why it's really important to do the hobbies or find people. I feel like we'll get on really well because I want to know more about your metabolism and cold and stuff like that. But it's really
important.
We'll
connect, we'll be besties.
Thank you. But it's really important.
Forming new connections. This is exactly what we're talking
about. Can we count that as our one for our five?
Tick, there's one, yeah.
Off in the framework. Yep. We're bossing it. But yeah, it's really important. So thank you for sharing that.
That's all right. Who wants this? Oh, I see you.
Go on, throw over to Miriam.
Me either.
Miriam looked horrified as the phone box. Well, thank you, Jordan, for your help.
Merci beaucoup, my prince. I just got a whiff of neurodivergence over there, so I have extra advice if that helps. Back when I worked, currently I work off of my sofa with no pants on. It's been 12 years and it's glorious. But when I was in an office, I would buy all the chocolate, different flavors, not too expensive, but still the good stuff, in your office, the little filing cabinet, because that way you don't chase people, they come to you, okay? That is good. The other thing most people... Another thing that you may not realize if you're neurodivergent is that you're always hyper vigilant. So if you get stuck in an office where the door is behind you, there's a window on the side, people keep passing by, and the light is super harsh, you're going to feel like you're going to be attacked every second, so you end up drained at work and you don't know. So please just ask to change seats, and if they're being bitches about it, quit the company, okay?
Have we got time for one more? If anybody has a question or a story they want to share, well, that might be the last one.
Mark.
Oh, yes. Over there. Yeah, go on, Laura.
How did I do
Excellent throw, excellent catch.
Because we're telling office stories, I guess. Yeah, I've got one, a good one, I guess. When I moved to Gloucester a couple of years back, coming from a couple of different countries, including the UK, because I went to uni here, my English was a bit, I suppose, not as good as today. And, you know, Asmin, you were saying about talking to 5 people every day and try to sort of like, no, every week, sorry, doing all that kind of like effort to sort of connect with people. But given that I just moved to a new place, I didn't know anyone. So I sort of started confusing like my workplace with my social place kind of thing. That's where I was getting my social interaction apart from my cat. So it was quite hard. And I think I was probably coming in a bit too strong. Like, I think I was scaring people a bit, like, you know, coming to work, oversharing and sort of, oh, you know, little things that weren't necessarily interesting, but it was just me like sort of talking to people and feeling like, oh, nice people, awesome. What I was trying to say here, that the minute you start confusing your workplace with friends is the minute where you're there like putting yourself out there a bit too much. That's how I found it, especially coming to this country. Also the small talk that's, I don't know if it's specific to the UK, but people ask you like when you go to the office, they're like, how are you? And stuff like that. And you're there like, do I tell them? Like, apparently,
the correct answer is always just fine, thanks.
No, just say fine. I'm fine.
No, I learned it the hard way. I did. They don't care what I ate last night. So yeah. Or how's your weekend? You know, do I tell them? I've just been to a concert or whatever. You know, nah. So yeah, that's sort of what I've learned living on this island, interacting with people in an office. Lucky for me now, I'm only there once a week, so yay.
Any more, friend? Can we squeeze one more? Or is
squeeze
that...
one more. Anybody else?
By the way, if you have asked a question, don't forget to come and get this knowledge.
Do you get a copy of SEO in 2025?
Yeah.
Crystal's thinking about it.
Okay.
Oh, good throw, good catch. Well done.
Very good throws. Very good throws.
Close us out, Crystal.
I have a question, like to the group, I guess. One of the things I realized the other day is that the person, entity, whatever that I probably speak to most during the day is Gemini at this point. I talk to Gemini more than any of my coworkers, more than any of, like, does anybody else feel any of that? I know there's a lot of talk about like, I don't know, people having like, you're nodding. Do you want to share that?
You're just passing the buck there, Chris. That was very sneaky.
No, I realized yesterday actually when I was working that at some point I actually typed into ChatGPT, I'm talking to you right now because Claude's being a bitch. So I completely understand what you mean. It feels like, because I work in-house, but I work on my own. So at home, but in-house, and like my only interactions are on Zoom. So I do find that my coworker, the one that I kind of look to for inspiration or advice, it's like I swap between Gemini or Claude or Perplexity, and I know which one has which best use. And it's kind of like what you said before, being really intentional. And I think that's one of the things that I've really loved about being able to come to Brighton SEO, or Women in Tech SEO is the first conference I went to. I mean, I've been doing SEO for less than a year. And I've already made so many interesting connections, people that I actually see, and being really intentional with that has helped me overcome some of that imposter syndrome, where I kind of feel, okay, well, I've just gone to the beginner training and I knew half of what he said. I'm not as hopeless as I thought, you know? So, yeah, but definitely Gemini.
I think that's it. Is that time?
Our time, yeah, absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you, Chris, for a round of applause. Thank you once again to SISTRIX for making everything possible, being our headline sponsor. Thank you for all the food, for Majestic. Huge thank you to Majestic. And thank you for all the drinks, Good Signals and Whitworth. Thank you so much for your support, everybody.
Can we take a photo?
What?
Yours.
Yeah, we'll do a group photo. Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We will enjoy Brighton SEO, and we'll get a big group photo with the background here. Jordan's going to take a photo. There's plenty more drinks. There's hopefully some more pizza around as well.
You
can do it. Thank you as well.
Our wonderful volunteers that we had this time.
Yes, of course. Jordan, EJ, Joe's been helping out as well.
Thank you. And thank you, Jack, for being the glamorous host of tonight. Didn't you do a good job? Don't laugh, it was honest. So we've got the space till 10. I don't know if there's raid the fridge because it all needs to go. I think the pizza's gone.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I don't know. I'm looking.
We'll find out.
I can't see. There's some snackage as well, still on the go.
Grab a
so
bottle of
raid it,
water.
and we're here until 10. So, you know, make connections.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Tick those 5.
Everyone, go and talk to 5 people.
Go and talk to 5 people. That's the rule now.
You've never spoken to before. And then report back.